You guys are going to think I'm absolutely crazy. This is the second big squat routine workout in 4 days. Yeah, I think it's been 4 days since I last did this. Why am I doing it so soon? Well, 90% of my soreness is gone, and I feel energy within me to try this again. Ever since I finished that first big squat routine, I wasn't really happy with the result. I felt like the night shift, I woke up that afternoon after a night shift. I didn't have food. I was just not in the most perfect shape to attack such a beast as this. And so ever since I kind of did that, I've been thinking about when I could return. I had it on my mind ever since. It's a beast of a workout. It's as mental as it is physical. Last time I did it was quite warm, and so I was kind of like huffing and puffing like a maniac between sets. So I really wanted to have a go. So this morning I've woken up 4:30, started training at 5 something. It's now 6:30, so it's taken me an hour and a half, and I spent maybe 20, maybe 30 minutes doing some deadlifts, 5 sets of 20 with 40 kilos. So I warmed my hips up and I went into it. I've also adopted a bit of a narrow stance here to kind of alleviate the tension that's placed upon the adductors. I really wanted to just change up my stance, play up my stance, just to see where my strongest positions are, and I think this is it. I really think parallel feet, rather close stance, really suits me for some reason. I don't know. I feel like I'm more comfortable in the hall when I kind of flare my knees out a little bit. But when I do that, I feel like I expose my hip. And I think part of that TFL issue that I've had ongoing freaking for probably 3, 4, 5, 6 months, something like that, man, has got to do with the knee flare. I know some of you guys in the comments have talked to me about this. The best thing I can tell you is experiment. Don't be afraid to experiment with different stances. It's not always what it seems. It's not always massage. It's not always stretching. It's sometimes just optimal positioning. You need to understand that our body is basically a bunch of levers, a bunch of string attachments, and sometimes if the lever gets pushed to a certain position, one of the strings gets exposed, I guess, and strained, if you will. Those strings are muscles, and so just keep playing around with your leverages to work out what's best for you. Just because you see some guy on the YouTube or internet squatting with this unbelievable technique, I always look at Klokov and I always look at Lou, and I'm always like, man, that's how I want to squat. But it's not what it seems. Like, we all have our own leverages and ways of squatting. So do as best you can. Like, have a vision and experiment and see where you are. And don't be afraid to take the weight off of the bar. That'll be my number one advice. So here, what do I got? I got 30 kilos on the bar. No, 50 kilos on the bar. This is all kind of like warm up basically. The interesting thing was, last time we did this, my cameraman sat down and tallied up all the tonnage for each set, and an interesting pattern formed. Basically, it's like a bell curve. So the most amount of tonnage that you lift is around kind of like the 120 kilos for sets of 10. I think that's the peak, and then it kind of like tapers off either end of that. Obviously, the first set is 20 times 20, which is 400, and the last set is 210 times 1, which is 210. So it's a bit of a sharper taper towards the top. So the volume obviously drops as you go along, but it's soul zapping because you've just gone through hell and back. Kind of in the lead up, when you're going from a set of 20 down to set about 8, it's really hard, and you got all that volume behind you. Even though you're doing less tonnage, you've got a bigger history, if you will. So I kept saying to myself, get over the hump, get over that hump where you're doing, a set of 12, set of 11, set of 10. I felt like that was the hump. And then when you go down to set of 9, the tonnage, ever so slightly starts to decrease. And it's kind of it's kind of the light at the end of the tunnel, if you will. Obviously, I can't do 210 for set of 1. I can't do 200 right now for set of 1, especially with not so much volume behind me. But anyway, it was a really cool thing. My legs felt amazing through this. There was a pump. There was no pain. It was just me and the bar and the gravity. It was really cool. So I think this routine appeals to me a lot because it's a very extended warm-up. And by the time you get to some sort of like respectable weight, you are already warm and you're ready to hit it. it's completely different to what I'm used to, where I just kind of like minimize my warm-ups and just basically save my energy for the top set. That's also good, but with that kind of thing, you're kind of tippy-toeing the line of injury, because if you misload the bar in some way, and you chew off a bigger chunk than you should, you don't have a lot of blood and a lot of kind of pump happening in the muscles, so you're running the risk. This just felt like butter, man. I honestly felt like this is a pleasure. Having that said, you're weaker, right? Because you've just done this crazy ass warm up. I think this is 90 kilos. This is kind of where I said to myself, okay, this is the bar starting to get heavy now. Obviously 90 kilos is not heavy for me, but with the amount of volume that I've already done, it started to kind of slow down a little bit. I definitely felt that. But yeah, it's I really want to climb up the ranks of the pig squat. I mean, there's many different ways of approaching volume training. I have kind of dabbled in the squat and milk program, the 20 reps squat program. That is a brutality. It's very hard to kind of get yourself up for that, because basically you increase the weight every workout. You do 3 workouts a week, and no matter what, you're going up 5 pounds. And no matter what, you're starting, you have to get 20 reps out of that set. So it depends how you go. They say, take your 10 rep max and do it for a set of 20. Now let me repeat that again. You pick a weight that's your 10 rep max and you do it for 20. That's kind of what they want you to do. The idea behind that is that you are resting at the top. So you do your 10, and usually you would rack the bar, but instead of racking the bar, you just sit there and you basically ask Jesus for help, ask Allah for help. You suck those deep breaths in until you get 1. Spend some more time at the top, get 1. Spend some more time, get 1. And basically the set might take you 3 minutes. Eventually you're going to get to 20. It is brutality. It is more mentally draining than physically, I think. And physically it's very draining. It's just mentally really draining to know that you're going to be suffering for the next 3 minutes. With this, it's a whole lot more volume, but it's at a lesser intensity, and you get breaks, and you've got a light at the end of the tunnel kind of thing. You know exactly how many reps you need. You're kind of building up to it. It's kind of different to the 20 rep squat routine, because that thing is just brutality. It's made for freaking barbarians wielding double-handed freaking axes, running into the Roman front lines and just smashing people. That's what that needs you to be, just a freaking savage. I feel like this is a little bit more for my kind of personality. I'm generally kind of laid back, so for me to kind of smell ammonia and pump heavy metal music, that's not me. I've always kind of been a calm lifter. So this kind of thing is a bit more kind of my style, where it's kind of more measured, and it's not so savage, and there's control there. But anyway, you can do whatever you want. So here, 130. Is this 130? I think this is 130. Let's see how it starts moving. Yeah, I mean, last time I got 120 and I was spent. And I think that's largely got to do with, like I said, the night shifts and the temperature that was outside. Like, it's 5 o'clock as you're watching. I don't know whether you can see what's written on the clock, but nice and early, fresh air. I'm fresh. No food in the belly, so it's fantastic. That's my best time to train, especially for volume. Maybe not so much for like top strength, but definitely for volume. So that's 140, and this is where it gets really heavy. I always gauge how the set's going to be by the first rep. I kind of know where I'm going to end up. It's all got to do with the speed of the bar. Nice. That looks pretty good. And I'm liking the whole parallel feet as well. Makes me feel so strong. I don't know whether you guys have ever tried that. Just feel like I'm on top of my feet. I feel like I'm stacked. I can just push straight up. In this position, there's more hip internal rotation than external rotation. So we're all different, but anyway, I seem to like a bit more external rotation. I have a lot more room there than internal rotation. So this is the top set, 150 for 7. This really tested me. You can see by the first rep that I'm kind of slowing down. Yeah, I'm feeling it now. Ooh, I remember my core started collapsing here. I started getting cramps in low abs. Yeah. Yeah. It's the core. The core is what limits you. Yeah. A lot of power leaking through the sides of my core. This is the number one thing that stops us from lifting heavy weight. And high rep training with squats or deadlifts really hammers the core. You know, people like to do sit-ups and leg raises for a set of 20. Do squats for a set of 20, and you tell me what works out the core more. Anyway, I'm really feeling it here. Absolutely spent. It's an absolute joy to actually rack the bar on the last set. Really, really good feeling. Even though you're in living hell, it's a good feeling to know that it's done. And this is the tally. I had a bit of a Y ball going. And yeah, 150 for a set of 7. All right, guys. Jump back in the house, shower, and get some food into me. All right, catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.